Hi guys, welcome back to the video on math skills section 5 part 2. So our 10 minutes limit cut off at this point, so we need to come back to it. So we're looking at the investigations into the effect of name minerals on plant growth. We had a question to start with. It was about the light dependent reaction. So if a plant is kept in the dark, it is still able to produce carbohydrates as long as it provides two products of light-dependent reaction of photosynthesis, and give the name of those products and explain their function in the light-independent reaction of photosynthesis. So you should be aware of the products of light-dependent reaction, which is ATP and reduced NADP. So the function of those is to reduce GP to TP, and also in terms of the ATP provides energy to do that process of reduction. So that's really important. You could also refer to RUBP, which will be reformed as well. Okay, so make sure you remember the products of light dependent reaction and the function in the Calvin cycle in the light independent reaction, because they are the main typical questions. So here we've got the table that gives information about the yield and profitability of the wheat crop growth using different amounts of fertilizers. So nitrogen fertilizer applied, so the mass per the unit of the area increases here from 0 to 100. The grain yield in tons, as you can see, doesn't change much, so from 2.4 to 2.5. Grain protein then slightly increases, okay, but there is, as you can see, not much effect. The value added increases. Cost of using the fertilizers, we've got it in here, and the benefits to the cost ratio in there. So the benefits to the cost ratio, as we can see, are the highest here, because it's 1.7 to 1, and that's a good point to mention that all the ratios in biology are to 1. So here the benefits to the cost ratio are quite lower, so there is no need for that much fertilizers to be applied, as they don't have much benefits. So describe the effect of increasing fertilizer application on the yield and protein content. So what we just said here was minimal effect. What we've said, there is no difference, so no significant difference, because as we can see here, what we've mentioned before, from 2.4 to 2.5, same in terms of the proteins, there is not significant difference. Okay, there's increase in the protein content of grain with all of the fertilizers application, to summarize the concept. Another question that they could ask, they could give you some long response, and they could ask you to use the data from the graph to evaluate the effect on plant productivity of adding AMF species and adding phosphate to the soil. So let's have a look what we've got here. So we've got the control, which is in there. Okay, we've got the biomass, we've got the normal soil phosphate concentration, and twice soil phosphate concentration. So those four here, this is the effect of adding phosphate. Okay, and here we've got different species. So what we can see, that having more phosphate for those species here, EI, has a negative effect, so decrease. For the glomutes, that species, the increase, okay, with a small increase for the SF, okay, and for the control group, we've got the small increase as well. So how can we then summarize our answers? It's what we've just did. So you need to name each of those species, what we just did, compared to the normal phosphate and to the double phosphate. So we did all this here, and that's 4 marks already done. But another thing where the marks will be coming from, it's, for example, the fact about standard deviation. So we don't have any standard deviation, so we can't actually do any statistical tests to determine if there was a significant difference or not. And in terms of the length of the investigation, it was only 20 weeks. So 20 weeks for growth might not be enough as well to come up with any conclusion. And another thing, we don't have actual information about the root growth. We don't know anything about that. Okay, so any questions on the effect, refer to each of the species, refer to the graph, talk about the length of the investigation and the sample size if you can as well. Also remember to mention the standard deviation if it's included. If not, you need to say that it's not in there, so you cannot determine if the difference is significant or not. Right, so that's everything for section 5 in terms of the math skills. See you later.